Thank you everyone for joining in today's HMC medical information session. We're about to get started. Today we're going to focus on HMC's medical benefit offerings through Tamarack Health. We will start with a few house cleaning items as it relates to open enrollment. So as a friendly reminder, open enrollment goes live Monday, October 20th. You have until October 31st to make any changes to your benefit elections should you wish to do so. This year's open enrollment is a passive enrollment. You may remember last year it was an active enrollment where you were required to go in and elect benefits if you wanted them for the following calendar year. As this year is a passive enrollment, you only need to log in if you want to change your benefits from 2025 to 2026. That is unless you have an FSA. If you have an FSA, then you are required to go in and make your FSA elections because they will not roll over. If you do have an FSA, you should have received an email from me last week denoting action is required from you. All coverage for open enrollment will go into effect January 1st, 2026. And same as last year, you can complete your open enrollment in UKG. We have plenty of office hours next week and the following week if you need help doing so in UKG for HR available. And you can also follow step-by-step instructions that we have posted to the portal under the benefits page, should you wish to do that as well. So what is changing for 2026? In 2026, we will see an increased deductible and premium amounts. Here we see our premium responsibility as well as the amount of premium Tamarack Health is paying for our medical coverage. So what are premiums? Premiums are the amount taken from your paycheck to pay for medical insurance. We also saw on the last slide, Tamarack Health is paying premiums on our behalf for medical insurance. I've highlighted our premium breakout by FTE eligibility and something we call coverage level. So coverage level is the rows on this table. We see coverage level by the number of people enrolled in the plan. So employee only is just yourself as an employee. This is also referred to as single or single coverage level. Employee plus one is yourself plus one dependent. Family is yourself plus two dependents. So what are dependents? As we can see kind of the breakout below that table, dependents are your spouse, children up to the ages of 26, and children over the age of 26 who are disabled, unmarried, and financially dependent upon you. Supporting documentation is required to determine if children over the age of 26 are eligible. Last thing I will say is that premiums are taken out 24 times in the calendar year. So it's not every single pay period. We only do it twice monthly. So if there's ever 3 pay periods in a month, you will not see premium taken out on that 3rd pay period in the month. So there's 26 total pay periods in the year. Premium is only ever taken out 24 times a year. Awesome, so let's dive into our medical plan itself. We have our HSA medical plan to offer our employees here at Hayward Medical Center. An HSA plan stands for Health Savings Account. It is a high deductible health plan in compatibility with an HSA. So high deductible health plan also is referred to as an HDHP plan. And that HSA is how it's compatible with the high deductible health plan. We'll talk more about an HSA later, but a common misconception we hear is that the HSA is part of the insurance. An HSA or health savings account is a separate account that you own that we see Tamarack Health also contributing funds into each premium period, or those 24 times per month, and you yourself can contribute into an HSA. That's to help pay for medical expenses as we see broken out here. It can also pay for dental and vision, but we'll get to that in more detail later. Where I just want you guys to differentiate is we have our insurance plan in front of you, but it is compatible with that HSA account. So our insurance plan, or a high deductible health plan, has a $3,400 employee only in-network deductible. It has a $6,800 employee plus one or employee plus two dependents, essentially that employee plus one and family coverage level family deductible in network on our plan. We have our out-of-pocket maximum, the same as our in-network deductible. And we can see it once we reach our deductible and these breakouts below of your financial responsibility, an example of how you would consume the plan in an average calendar year. So after you reach your deductible on our health plan, there is something called 100% coinsurance. Coinsurance is the amount the insurance carrier is going to cover for the approved claims on the plan. And 100% is an awesome, awesome number. Industry standard or like kind of market is about 80%, sometimes even dips lower to those 70%. So super grateful that we have 100% coinsurance after our deductible is met on our in-network plan. You also see under preventative care, there is no charge. So all preventative care, that's your annual wellness visit, flu shots, or those preventative guidelines and those appointments you might see, is not subject to that high dollar deductible amount. So that's our in-network breakdown. I also want to call out that in-network deductible, the goal of it being compatible with an HSA is that we have funds in that health savings account to close our exposure on this high deductible dollar amount. So as everything prior to the deductible being met is our financial responsibility, the HSA is built in there to help close that exposure, to help us have funds to pay for that deductible dollar amount. Then when we reach our deductible, we get to leverage 100% coinsurance so that we do have that financial security for that medical coverage. So very important to call out how an HSA ties into our high deductible health plan as it is an HSA medical plan. Now to point your attention to out of network, so that yellow column, we see out of network has increased deductible dollar amounts, out of pocket, and as well as it has 70% coinsurance. 70% coinsurance means there's going to be a 30% responsibility to us after our deductible is met. So I think we can already tell it makes more sense to stay in network when we can. The difference between in-network and out-of-network is that there's not a pre-negotiated fee schedule between the provider and the insurance carrier for out-of-network providers. And what I mean by that is the provider and the insurance carrier get together each calendar year and they look at all the fees that could be charged for services rendered and they attach a dollar amount to it before the year even starts. So they're an in-network provider. And as an example of that, if I were to go to my doctor who's in-network, say if I have a stomach ache and I go to my in-network provider, I check in and I sign a financial agreement at the beginning of my check-in saying, yep, I will pay my bill. And then I go get treated for my stomach ache by my in-network provider. And after my appointment, my provider bills my insurance carrier, say $200. My insurance carrier will take a look at that pre-negotiated fee schedule as an in-network provider and say, actually for the services rendered, Haley, you only owe $150. So I'll say, awesome, I'll pay the $150 with my HSA and then I'll get $150 towards my deductible that year that's in network, which we see is already a lower amount than the out-of-network deductible. We love to see it. That's exactly how we'd want to consume the plan. Out-of-network, though, is different in that if I went to an out-of-network provider for the same thing, I checked in for my stomach ache appointment, I signed that financial agreement saying I'll pay my bill, and then I go to my out-of-network provider, I get the same exact services rendered, and they say, Haley, it's $200 for your appointment. I say, okay. They bill my insurance carrier, and I get that bill from the insurance carrier. It's also called an explanation of benefits, saying, it's actually not a bill, but they call it an explanation of benefits breaking out the billing on the plan. And they say, you went to an out-of-network provider, they're charging you $200. If you were to go in-network, it would have been $150. So you have to pay the $200, but you're only going to get credit towards your out-of-network deductible for $150. And a lot of examples. So you can see that I'm having to pay $200, but I'm only getting credit for $150 towards a higher out-of-network deductible. And that's just for us all to be aware of the differences and in-network versus out-of-network, and knowing we do get more bang for our buck by staying in-network. It's better for the plan, and we get full credit for the prices we pay for the services rendered. So it's not a bad thing to go out-of-network, but if you have to do it, you have to do it. But if we have the choice, I highly recommend going in-network when you can. If you have to go out-of-network, it's the reality of the situation, say if we're on vacation or there's an emergency room appointment. But if we ever have the opportunity or can be proactive in educating ourselves, I'd highly recommend staying in network, because we like to keep those extra dollars back in our pocket and leveraging the structure of this plan as it's intended, and you getting the most out of it. So any questions there? We see our annual deductible. That has an inverse relation to our premiums. So the higher the deductible, usually the lower the premiums. I did also forget to mention that our annual deductibles that we see up here is an embedded deductible. So we'll spend a little bit more time talking about that on the next slide, but that's an embedded deductible being our IRS minimum. And then we have our coinsurance at 100% and out-of-pocket maximums as highlighted below. The HSA contribution to the plan is 24 times a year, so per premium period. For the single coverage, it's $25 per pay period on that premium period, and for the Employee Plus One and family plan, it's $50. So that totals $600 or $1,200 contributing to your HSA to help offset that exposure on your deductible. So now I'll pause there for any questions. So what is an embedded deductible? We just spent a lot of time going over our in-network and out-of-network deductibles. As it relates to our in-network deductible, our embedded deductible is set at the IRS minimum of $3,400. And we've been pretty consistent with that year to year of keeping it at the minimum deductible dollar amount. But an embedded deductible is a type of health insurance deductible used in that Employee Plus One or family's plan. It means that each family member really has their own individual deductible that is embedded within the overall family deductible. So how does that work? Each person must meet their individual deductible before insurance starts paying for the covered expenses. However, if the total amount paid by the family, like all the members combined, reaches the family deductible, that plan can also start paying for everyone too. So it's just a matter of like what occurs first. Even if some individuals haven't met their personal deductible, once that family deductible amount, that $6,800 is met, everyone can reap the benefits. But say only an individual reaches the $3,400 of incurred claims costs that are covered, then they can start seeing the benefits of their covered cost and coinsurance before the whole family has met that $6,800 deductible. So it really helps out for those who maybe have like a high claims year. They don't have to incur $6,800. They only have to individually incur that $3,400 before they start seeing that covered cost. Now, I also promised I'd spend a lot of time talking about what an HSA is earlier on in the presentation. But an HSA, or health savings account, is a tax-advantaged savings account designed to help people pay for qualified medical expenses. That includes dental and vision expenses, COBRA premiums, qualified long-term care insurance, and really anything listed on and approved by the IRS. They post a list every single year, and we call it under a blanket statement qualified expenses. HSAs are paired with a high deductible health plan, and it offers 3 major tax benefits, which makes it one of the most powerful tools for managing healthcare costs. A couple basics of an HSA is that you must be enrolled in the high deductible plan to leverage it or contribute to an HSA actively in the year. Both you and as well as Tamarack Health put money into the HSA up to the IRS limit each year. And then, as previously mentioned, this funds those qualified medical expenses like doctor's visits, prescriptions, dental, vision care, or just even our out-of-pocket exposure leading up to that deductible. So those triple tax advantage mentioned, the contributions are tax-free. The growth for any interest or investments earned are taxed, and then withdrawals are tax-free when used for qualified medical expenses. Some key features of an HSA is it's ours to own. The money stays with us even if we leave Tamarack Health or we retire. It rolls over from year to year, so there's no use it or lose it rule. We can invest the funds within our HSA once we reach a certain balance. So similar to like a 401(b), this is a way you can continue to grow your investments for retirement should you need to do so, or any future healthcare costs for that rainy day should something unforeseen ever happen. So once we hit that certain investment balance, you can then start investing the funds and have your money work for you, which is a really, really cool feature of the HSA. Do want to call out that sometimes the HSA is almost too good to be true, right, with all these benefits. So the IRS does set that maximum contribution limit. In 2026, it's $4,400 for that single plan or employee only coverage level, and it's $8,750 for employee plus one or that family coverage level. So essentially yourself plus any dependents on the medical plan. Then if you are 55 years or older, there is a catch-up contribution that adds to that total IRS maximum. So just to be mindful of the total contribution limits, they're cumulative, so if you're coming in with a previous employer, you want to be mindful that you're not over contributing if you're jumping on our plan at all mid-year or if you go through a qualifying life event. The last thing I wanted to mention that I don't believe I did when I was talking about the key features of the HSA is after the age of 65, you can withdraw money from your from your HSA for non-medical reasons without a penalty, but you will pay like income tax like a traditional IRA. So that's another really cool feature of an HSA. So it's really benefiting you whether you use it now or in the long term. And I also just listed some frequently asked questions or topics that I receive about HSA. So as it pertains to an HSA, if you elect into the HSA medical plan for 2026, you'll see that first contribution from Tamarack Health contributed on that 1/9/2026 payroll period. If you yourself decide to contribute to an HSA, that would be the same date that first contribution for employee and employers would hit your HSA account. Any remaining balance in 2025 will roll over to 2026 and available for use. So again, the account is portable, it's ours to own. There is no use it or lose it. You can change your HSA contributions as many times as you want throughout the year. So the key piece of open enrollment is if you are continuing coverage on the medical plan, opting in for the first time, or even opting out, this is your window to choose to participate in the medical plan. Once you're actively participating in the medical plan, you'll have your HSA and you can change your contributions as many times as you want throughout the year. But you just need to decide, do I want my medical plan to continue in 2026 between October 20th and the 31st? Thereafter, the HSA can be updated as many times as you see fit. And then if you are 65 or older and enrolling in the HSA plan and also electing Medicare, you are not eligible to contribute to an HSA account as there's some eligibility rules around an HSA. You do not want to receive the employer contribution as well. We have a Medicare informational session on Friday. Feel free to tune in for that and learn a little bit more about Medicare and HSA eligibility. So switching gears back to the medical insurance plan, want to call out where you can access Medica, who is our third-party administrator and insurance carrier for the plan's member portal. Under the member portal, you can do so much, which we'll get to momentarily, but you can always access a Medica member portal by going to our internal portal to HR under benefits, and there's a quick link in the upper left corner where it's a purple square entitled Medica. It'll bring you right to the Medica member portal with the insurance carrier directly. And here's what I mean by leveraging it to the maximum. So we can see our current deductible amount, we can see our claims being processed, we can print off ID cards, and one special feature is finding in-network providers. So before we even schedule an appointment with a provider or make ourselves aware of, hey, on a rainy day, if I needed to seek urgent care, I can go to X, Y, and Z in-network providers available to me in the area. So it's really, really great tool for us to use. And again, just make sure you log on, create an account beforehand. If you have in the past and you don't remember your password, there's a forgot username and forgot password feature. Or if you're not very computer friendly, if you will, and you'd rather just speak to somebody on the phone, I listed Medica's member portal customer service phone number right there. You can always give them a call. You can request ID cards be mailed to you. They can help you with coverage related questions, find in-network providers, and really navigate all the benefits of having a medical insurance plan. There is a Medica mobile app for easy access if you prefer that as another avenue to look up these different items or search in-network providers, etc. And last but certainly not least, just wanted to give a little plug to the My Health Rewards feature through Medica. So you can log into medica.com/myhealthrewards and get started. You essentially earn points to get rewards throughout the year. There's several different things you can do here, like you can track your points, you can get preventative care checkups, and there's an entire program. Once you're logged in, there's a learn how to earn more points feature, and it lists all the ways you can earn those points. And then there's like cash outs for e-gift cards that you can choose where you want that cash out to go to for those rewards that you earned. So way to be healthy, think about your health, and then get a free benefit in return. So very cool. I listed the website that you can go to, as well as there's a QR code here if you want to scan it. This is also available on our wellness team's page and posted throughout the hospital. So thank you everyone for being here today and taking a step towards further educating yourselves on our medical plan. This is how we together make smart healthcare choices, are good stewards of our plan, so we can keep cost-effective care at the forefront of our mind and goals. So recapping some really great ways we can help lower premiums include taking advantage of the 100% covered in-network preventative service. We get ahead of things before they progress and become secondary or tertiary care. Choosing in-network providers whenever possible. Going back to that Medica member portal, you can go online and search any in-network providers in the area and just make a smart, educated decision to go to them when at all possible. Considering generic medications when appropriate, and then using urgent care in lieu of an emergency visit in those non-emergency situations. So every little step adds up and helps keep our plan sustainable for everyone. And a huge, huge thank you to you all. At this time, I just want to give a plug that we will be doing an HSA FSA session tomorrow, a dental session on Wednesday, a 403B session on Thursday, and a Unum and Medicare session on Friday. All the while followed by open enrollment kicking off next Monday, or this upcoming Monday, October 20th, and we'll have office hours available here at HMC on site Tuesday and Thursday until open enrollment closes October 31st. Thank you.